Hey, what's happening, Nation? It's Joku. We went out and claimed another tight end off waivers today. A lot of you people out there are pretty confused by it. I wanted to break it down, see what you get your guys' opinions on it, see what your thoughts are about it. A lot of you guys are out there saying it's just training camp bodies, and I kind of agree with that. But I want to throw a few different theories out there and just kind of see what you guys are thinking about it and why we would be carrying six tight ends right now, because it seems a little bit much, but uh, we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump into it. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I always do appreciate that. And I really just want to get your guys' thoughts about it. Oh, MVP, what's up? Numbers, what's going on, man? Yeah, we're going to be breaking down the tight ends tonight. So let's jump into this. We know who we got. We got Darren Waller. We got Foster out there. We got Derek Carrier. We went out and got Jason Witten, which I was pretty okay with. A lot of you guys were kind of down on that move, but I thought that was a pretty good move for us. Then we got Nick O'Leary, and then I guess we brought back Paul Butler today. He was with us last offseason, ended up getting cut. He went to the Lions practice squad, and then we claimed him back today. So a lot of you guys were saying, why? Why would we do this? There's a lot of different reasons. It could just be camp bodies out there. I mean, I do agree with that, especially a guy like Nick O'Leary and Paul Butler. And honestly, probably now Derek Carrier is going to be fighting for his job out there. There's a few people out there that have said, oh, Chris, what's going on, man? Numbers, I did a mock draft the other day, dude. Go check that out. It was me and my brother. It went for about an hour, but we had a lot of fun. It was a really good show. Watts, we got Paul Butler, man. Yeah, we picked him up today. It's been pretty quiet because he's not really a big move. He's not a big name. Not too many people have been talking about it. But I thought it was a pretty cool pickup, dude. And the dude has size. He's 6'6", 252. He's only 26 years old. He's never played an NFL game before. And he's an undrafted free agent. But I do like the kid. He could go out there. He can block. And he has a shot at making this team if he can go out there and perform. I mean, they saw enough last offseason to bring him back and give him another shot. So I'm curious to see what happens with it. One of the theories that I have heard out there, Joe Mama, what's up, man? Is that we're going to move Waller to wide receiver and break him out, so we wanted to bring in more tight ends. I personally think that's a terrible, terrible idea. Oh, catch up. You're back. You're back and you got your name. I love it. Six tight ends. Holy crap, that's a bunch. Damn, I've been slacking my Raiders knowledge. A lot of this is, the Butler thing kind of just happened. Number said, what's up to Watts? Joe Mama, how are you? I think Carrier might have a shot because he knows the offense. I really like Carrier. I truly think he does have a shot. I would love to see that happen. Oh, Zach, what's going on, man? Joe Mama says, what team do you hate the most? It was the Chargers, mostly because of my hatred for Phillip Rivers, but it's fully focused on the Chiefs now. Chris says, love the show with your brother. I wrote down all the picks and checked the film after that work tonight. Dude, that dude knows his shit. I'm actually going to have him back on tomorrow night. We're just going to do like a full AFC West breakdown and just the strengths and weaknesses of these teams and how we can go ahead and take over the number one spot in the AFC West, because that shit has to happen. We have to take control and get that crown back. And I think we got a serious shot at it, so I'm going to bring him back on. It should be a pretty good show, so be sure to tune in for that. It'll probably go off about 10:30 Eastern time again. Watt says the Broncos. Yeah, man, everybody has that team they truly, truly hate out there. Number says, I'm looking forward to the defense. Our defense is going to be so sick, dude. But let me jump into this real quick. Waller jumping outside, I think is a terrible idea. We need to keep him in for blocking. Plus, if you can just split him out like two steps, it can cause a really big mismatch with the safeties. So I don't think that's what it is. My biggest concern right now with all these tight ends coming onto this team is that Foster is hurt and is going to start next season on the injured reserve. And it's just a theory that I'm putting out there. I have nothing to truly base that on except for the fact that his injury was nasty as shit. Like, if you don't believe it, go watch that again, dude, because that was a terrible, terrible injury. And I really think that we brought in Witten to take Foster's spot through that first 8 weeks until he's eligible to come back, and then Carrier was going to stay at our 3, which pretty much makes sense because then you would have Nick and Paul just pretty much as those camp bodies out there. And then you have Witten filling that spot. And then if we're winning and Foster comes back, I think Witten stays and finishes the season, and Carrier ends up getting that bump off the team or maybe down to the practice squad. But I have a feeling if we're doing terrible, you might see Witten retire mid-season, and then Foster comes back, and then Carrier ends up keeping his job. So I'm really curious to see how that all plays out because, I mean, that could be a really, really big move for this team. And I hope Foster's not hurt. I truly, truly love that kid. I think he is a true beast. And if he's on IR and he can't start their season, we got to wait 8 weeks, so be it, because we have the big veteran in there. Because I'll tell you right now, you get into goal line and you have Witten and Waller on each side, then you have Renfro out there just kind of working a quick route, and then you have man, there's a lot of options out there. I'm truly jacked up about this team right now. Let's jump into some of these comments real quick. Can't body, maybe special teams. That's very possible. I could see him maybe on the special teams because he does have really good size to him. Oh, the Niners. Yeah, I do hate the Niners too. I think it's because of Foster's health. That's what I'm saying, Diego, man. It very, very well could be, which totally, totally sucks. Von Miller with Corona. Oh, man, did he get Corona? I didn't see that. I like Von. I mean, you got to have respect for the dude, but you don't want to see anybody with that shit. Rate the defense from 1 to 10. As this defense stands right now, I'm putting us at a solid 7 with the potential to move up to an 8 or a 9. Chiefs are nothing without Pat. I mean, Chiefs won a few games after he went down with that fucking knee thing, so I'm still worried about the Chiefs. You know what else I'm worried about? I know it's kind of pretty much way off subject from what we were talking about, but it is what it is. There's a lot of people saying out there in these mock drafts that the Dolphins are going to take Herbert and then the freaking Chargers are going to take Tua. That would flip the script of the entire AFC West, dude. I got a lot of respect for that kid. And the Chargers have a lot of weapons, plus they have a good-ass defense. I don't think they would be a lights-out team right off the bat, but I think that would have to be something we would have to worry about. That would put 3 young-ass quarterbacks with a lot of potential that we're playing against every damn season. So that shit's a little bit scary. I'm not even going to lie. Would you take Jameis Winston? No, I would not. Not at all. Mayak says Foster is healing well. And that's the thing, like, he didn't say Foster's ready to go. He said that Foster's healing well, which means that the dude's still hurt. So I really think that's one of the reasons you're seeing us carrying 6 tight ends right now. And 2 of them pretty much are camp bodies, but I'm curious to see how the other 4 shake out because we didn't sign Witten for no reason. He's coming onto this team to play. There's no chance Witten would sign a contract to come onto a team. And I'm not saying he's going to go out there and be taking Waller's spot, but he's going to be getting playtime every single game. So I hope Foster's not totally shook up. Now it should be about 7 or 8. Yeah, that is true. Do you think we need a kicker? Dude, I can't go to it now. We re-signed DJ Killings. We re-signed Carlson today, so we re-signed our kicker again. There was a few other re-signings that I totally had memorized before this show that I totally forgot. But if you go to the Raiders transactions page, I think we made like 5 or 6 moves today. And I know we brought our kicker back. I know we got Killings back. I know we got Levitt back. There's 2 other dudes that I'm missing. So go check that out if you just want to see who it was. They're not like real big name dudes or anything like that, but it's players that we brought back that are definitely going to be at camp with us. I think our kicker should end up being pretty good to go. I know Watt's like that kid out of Georgia. Wouldn't want to waste a draft pick on him, but at the same time, I really think we'll be able to get that kid after the draft. But there's a lot of teams that go out there and bring him in later in the round, so maybe if we end up picking up like another 7th in some random trade, we'll end up bringing in a kicker. But as for now, I honestly like Carlson. I'll ride with him for right now. He's still young. He's had his ups and downs, but there's something about that kid that I just like, so we'll see what happens with it. Last year's defense was like a 4. Yeah, man. It was our linebackers, man. I'm telling you, if you do not have linebackers, then all of a sudden your secondary sucks and your defensive line is doing twice as much work. And that's why I was so gung-ho about us replacing our linebackers, and we did it. And we did it in a big, big way. That's why I'm totally confident this defense is going to take a huge swing. Yeah, for competition, it pretty much is. Gruden loves competition. Gruden also loves tight ends. Everybody knows that, so I'm curious to see what happens about that. I was stumped by Witten. Thing is, he's still serviceable and brings a wealth of knowledge and guidance. He does, and I'll tell you right now, at the 4-yard line, if you got somebody that you just need to get open, get that space, and know how to use his hands and make that catch for the touchdown, that's where I like Witten. That is where, and in the blocking. The dude can still block. I will give him that. He can still pancake somebody. He's still got a lot of size and a lot of strength to him. Ask me about the defense after the draft. That's fair. I will give you that. A lot's going to change with this team through that draft. Mayock is high on Johnson and Nixon, Kukowski and Nassib. Nassib ended up getting $17 million guaranteed. I was shocked by that. Like, truly shocked by that. I don't see him as a starter, but if you're making that kind of money, you better come in there and be making a huge, huge impact on this team. That's big ass money, especially for him, because the dude hasn't really been a starter that often in the league. I appreciate that subscriber that just clicked in there. Thank you for that. Oh yeah, Johnson and Nixon, dude. I really like Nixon. I really think Nixon could end up taking that nickel slot role over. I think him and Lawson honestly played it better than Joyner did. There's a lot of people saying that we're going to slide Joyner back to safety and Randall's going to be filling that nickel spot, but Randall's a way better natural safety than he is playing that slot spot. I think Joyner's only still on this team because we had so much dead money behind him, but if he starts to get shaky, I'll tell you right now, I think Nixon's taking that spot over, and I think Isaiah's going to end up being our starting number 2 corner unless we draft somebody high as hell. So I'll take it. Either damn way I will take that. I really like that kid a lot. If you line up Waller at wide receiver, more than likely he'll draw the number 1 cornerback. That will free up Tyrell Williams or our new Ricky Ruggs. Oh, catch up. I knew you were loving Ruggs. But that's true. I mean, it will pull probably a corner and a safety over to that side just so they can double team them up top. And then if you do have that speed on the opposite side, that will make a huge difference. And you best believe Gruden sees that shit. Who do you think the Raiders will take at 12? If CeeDee Lamb is not on the board, I truly think we go defense at number 12, and I truly think that we take a cornerback with that pick. I'm still leaning towards C.J. Henderson with that pick. If Lamb is not on the board, I truly don't think that Gruden would take Judy at 12. We already have, I mean, Judy's more of that slot guy, and he's that speed guy, the quick little routes. We have that. We need that deep threat, and you can't go Ruggs at 12. That's too damn high. Lamb's the only receiver I think we take at 12. So if it's not him, I think we go defense. And but by some chance Simmons or Kutas drops, that's our number 12 pick without a doubt. Diego says Lamb or Judy. Lamb 100%. I think 110%. He also said Randall will play next to Abram. He did say that, dude, and that made me so damn happy because that was one of the main things I put in my big defensive video out there, is that I wanted those two lined up next to each other. That is a truly threatening secondary as far as your safeties go, to where the running backs are scared, the tight ends are scared, and you know damn well any receiver crossing that field or crossing the middle of the field is going to have alligator arms. So I love seeing that. Like, love it. The number says secondary looks solid. It's truly getting there. Renee, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Do you want Stephon Diggs? He's already been taken by somebody else. I think this wide receiver class is deep enough right now to where anybody that pretty much blew their load on a receiver that early is killing themselves, man, because you might as well take a shot with one of these rookie kids out there and see what happens with it. I think Carlson can be better. He's always bad from 40 plus. He was money 30 to 39 yards. He missed 2 50-yard field goals, though. He did. And I don't know. The kid's still young, man. I just want to see, I don't know. It's just that continuity thing that I always talk about with the Raiders and just keeping the same people around. I don't know if Carlson's the answer, but just the fact that we have him coming back and we have another kicker, or we have a kicker in the building that was here last season, it helps out. I think it'll help calm him down a little bit if he knows his job's a little bit secure, even though it's totally not, but just in his head. Oh, Angry, what's happening, dude? I just subscribed to your channel the other day. I saw that you subscribed to mine. Dude, I love your show, dude. Your takes are killer. I do enjoy that. Arden Key back. Arden Key is back. He is healthy. He is doing his off-season training. So, I mean, he's working out. He's looking good. Man, I really hope that kid can step up, because if he doesn't, I think he's off that team completely. 6'7", 275. Who's 6'7", 275? I'm going to miss something there. Diego, I love Lamb, but Judy can run any route. He played in the slot this year, but he was Blitnikoff Winter Award outside as a sophomore. I mean, that is true. The kid is dynamic, but I just don't know. I personally, I mean, shit, I would take him at 12. I'm not going to lie. If Lamb wasn't there, which I have a feeling Lamb's going to end up going to Denver, and we're going to have Judy. But if we end up waiting and Ruggs is still there at 19, I would take that, and I would still go defense at 12. But I've heard some people say we are going to trade 12 back. I don't think 12's getting traded back. Unless that board's pretty much white clean of all the dudes that we've been talking about. I think we're sticking with that 12 pick. He knocks down balls. Yeah, that's Nesbitt. Yeah, I was looking at his size there. He is, dude. He can get up and he can knock down some balls out there, which is, I mean, it is a huge advantage. I mean, Farrell does it, Crosby does it. And I think Nesbitt's going to be part of that rotation, but $17 million, man. That dude, but he can play linebacker too, so I will give him that. Because if we did want to go into a just true 4-3, big formation to truly stop a true running team, we could drop Nesbitt in that other linebacker spot, and it would be a bigger set. It would be a little bit slower than having Morrow out there, but at $17 million, Morrow's looking like he's taking a back seat this next season. That's just my opinion. I know he's staying. He's going to be playing special teams. I think we're going to keep grooming him. But you might see Nesbitt end up taking his job and then working into that defensive line rotation out there. The reason for so many tight ends is because they want progression from Morrow since he was injured. Not sure if that was mentioned. It was. We talked about that at the beginning. I just don't know how injured he is and if he's going to end up riding the IR for the first 8 weeks of the next season, because that's the reason I thought we brought in Witten in the first place. I don't mind Ruggs and Chase Claypool. A lot of people the other day were saying Chase Claypool is too big, I guess plays more like Waller does than being like a true outside wide receiver. I can honestly see that. If we're going to get somebody on that outside, I do want them to have true speed. So I'm curious to see what plays out with that. Trade back into the second and get Michael Pittman. That's a definite possibility. I've seen a lot of people talking about that. He has longer arms than Max, but just as strong. He has a couple of moves too. I'm hoping he steps up, dude. I hope he steps up and makes a major, major impact. Because if we could have a third true edge rusher on this team, because Farrell's not a true edge rusher. Crosby is. So, I mean, you want to go into a blitzing down, and you can put Nesbitt on one side and Crosby on the other, and fill that gap with Hurst and Malik Collins. That is a big-ass defensive line coming at you. Plus, you can fucking send Littleton, send Kwiatkowski. We can finally start blitzing our linebackers. That's going to be huge for us. God. Are you going to do a live draft the day of? I am going to go live during the draft. I'd like some of you guys to come out there and check it out with me. I know that every damn Raiders channel out there goes live during the draft, so if it's just like me and 4 or 5 other people, I'm totally cool with that. But it'd just be fun to have somebody to watch the draft with besides my kids who don't give a shit about it, so it is what it is. Jalen Johnson, CBU out of Utah. Dude, I really like that kid. We talked about him in that draft video we did the other day. I think he has some serious potential. I think we can end up getting him probably in the mid to late second if we can jump in there. Or he'd probably end up being in the early second. But if we ended up pulling that trade with like the Colts or something, that would be a definite option. That kid's been getting a ton of talk. And I'll tell you right now, if you can get that kid outside of the first round, that'll be a huge addition for somebody. Carlson missed some chip shots too. Carlson ain't perfect, Chris. He ain't perfect, but we got to see what we got. Stumbling, what's happening, man? We had the other tight end that went to the Vikings last year. Oh, man, I'm not sure who that is. I'd have to look back onto it. Been running so many player analyses that all these dudes are starting to run together. Zach, that was Eric Sherbert. That's right. Watts, Jalen Johnson got height, and I haven't seen much tape on him, but I think we need to see what Isaiah Johnson got. I think Isaiah Johnson should be our starting cornerback. I just want to have a kid come in here as an insurance policy. I think Mullins and Johnson on each side, dude, they have the size, they have the speed, they have the skill out there, and they can both pretty much tackle. So I'd really like to see that happen. I think Isaiah Johnson would have been a starter last season if he wouldn't have had his face all jacked up during the preseason, which totally sucked to see. I really think Big Mo combined with that deep tackle we got from the Cowboys will still solidify the interior. Time will tell. Dude, I think our defensive line is going to be so jacked next season. We were good last season. That was like the one highlight of our team last year was our defensive line. And we've added to it and we've bulked it up. I think it's going to make a tremendous difference. The only person that I see being a little bit questionable, and I don't even know if he's going to make it onto this team, is PJ Hall. I think the other Mauro that's on our defensive line, I'm pretty sure that he's going to end up being cut. We've brought in enough pieces around him to where he can be replaced. But I think PJ Hall, especially if we get a defensive tackle in the draft, it's going to be the writing on the wall for him. He's had his chances. He truly has. Hurst has capitalized on it more than Hall has. I know Hall has made some pretty good plays. He has a pretty good stat line. But, I mean, even Gruden came out there and said it. The dude gives up on plays, so it's going to end up hurting him because the Raiders are not going to tolerate that shit, and I'm happy as hell to see it. Where are we at? $17 million. I'm just telling you what he's worth. I mean, that's a lot of money, dude. That is truly a lot of money out there. Man, I gotta find where I was on this thing. My bad, guys. Let's jump into Renee there. I'm saying we trade back both first rounders and get a second. Oh, we'll get 2 late picks in the first and a couple of seconds. I mean, there's a lot of depths out there in this draft. I'm curious to see what ends up happening with it, but I don't know if we'd pull that off. You'd end up getting some crazy-ass value if you did, but I think you'd miss out on a lot of the top-tier talents in this draft, and there's a few out there that I truly, truly want to see on this team. Do me a favor, do a mock draft and trade 12 next year's first and pick a 91 to Minnesota for 22, 25, and 58 and 132. Minnesota gets Lambs, Ruggs, or Judy. Of course, we want a badass wide receiver, but hear me out. I mean, that's very possible, Rich. And that's the thing. Like, everybody has their own opinion on it. Everybody wants to see what's going to happen with it. And there is no damn telling what's going to happen with it. So anything is possible at this point. Fierce, what's going on, dude? I'm glad you could make it out. I think we are going for the speed in this draft with this draft, dog. And you're right. You've talked about it before on this channel. I've seen you comment on other videos about it. We need the speed out there. We truly do need a speed guy on the outside. And I mean, those top 3 dudes are all fast enough to open up a defense. But there's some dudes in that second and third round out there that aren't the huge names, but have the speed to where they will stop teams from stacking the box. And that's really what we need out of this. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn my nose up at one of those top 2 dudes out there. There's no chance. Low-key, I still want Kenneth Murray. I still truly believe that we need a linebacker on this team. I did that breakdown. I really like Tavon Coney. I really think he could end up making a pretty big impact on this team. But again, I want to have a dude out there that's just a true stud. And I'll tell you, Kenneth Murray's still going to be sitting out there, especially if we trade back in that first now. Trade with somebody like the Patriots or something. I bet Murray's still on the board, and that I would still take that shit, dude. I'd still take Queen at this point. Either one of those dudes I would take. AJ Terrell at 28 if we trade back with the Ravens. That's very possible. A lot of people like him. A lot of people said he can't hit, though. And I did. I went out there and I watched some of his tape after everybody told me, because I backed that kid. I wanted to see him and Mullen come back together. And they're right. That dude is blowing some tackles, and that dude has bounced off some people. He tries to drop his shoulder without wrapping up, and that shit will kill you in the NFL. Murray going to go to the Ravens or the Eagles. Just watch. The Eagles seemed like they were really gunning for a wide receiver, but I could totally see the Ravens taking him. 19th, Kenneth Murray. 22, cornerback. 25, Dre Whitfield. 58, Pittman. Akua, Claypool would be the nice fit. All right, dude. If they pulled off that trade and that ended up being our draft, Rich, I'll give you that. I'd be happy as shit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Fierce, the only way I could see us drafting a cornerback with the 12th is if Akuda falls to 12, and if Akuda falls to 12, dude, I'll be going crazy. I'll be jumping up and down. I would love to see that dude be on this team. I hope Malik Collins can ball out. I do too. I really wish that we would have signed that kid to more than just a 1-year deal. That shit drove me insane that it was only a 1-year deal, but I really think it was just a money breakdown that came to it. I think if he ends up having a good year, you'll see him extended probably mid-season if he's really starting to bust out. My boy PJ, man, I'm high. Oh, dude, I'm not as high on PJ as I was. I used to be super high on PJ. I thought PJ Hall and Hurst were going to come in there and just take over that middle spot, and they were going to end up just being our defensive tackles for like the next 5 to 7 years. Hall's really let me down, dude. He truly has. Just on certain, he's made plays, but he's fucking blown so many plays too. It drives me insane. If Akuda doesn't fall, we are definitely getting a wide receiver at that 12th pick. If by some random chance Lamb and Judy are gone at that 12th pick, we're not taking a wide receiver at 12. They'll wait till 19 to see who ends up getting in there and to see who's still on that board. But after that, I seriously think they would wait. A lot of people sleeping on Johnson. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. But even if he shows up, we still need depth. We do, dude. We truly do. That boy Collins flies out the snap. I can't wait. Collins is going to be a beast. He was like one of our biggest free agent signings out there this offseason. I love seeing it. What if we can draft number 12, Henry Ruggs, number 19, Denzel Mims, and then jump back to the top of the second and pick up Patrick Queen out of LSU, dude? Double dip of that wide receiver and then getting into the second to pick up Queen. Hager, you're killing me, dude. That shit would be awesome, but there's no chance that happens. We got too many holes. I hope we somehow steal Jalen Hurts. I think if we can get into the second round, we'd have a decent shot at getting Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's going to go in those top 32. So if we can get in the top of the second, I think you'd honestly have a shot at it. I've talked about bringing Hurts onto this team before. I think him and Gruden would work really well together, so I'm curious to see how that plays out. Wouldn't mind trading 19 with the Colts for 2 second-round picks. That would be the ideal right there. Like, if there's a trade out there that I like to see is us take a wide receiver at 12, trade 19 for 2 second-rounders, and then we still have all 3 of our third-round picks. That would be huge, Chris. If we draft Jalen Hurts, he becomes our third QB. Yeah, he does for 1 season, just for him to take the time to learn this, and then he'd have a serious shot at taking this team over after that. I could not trade up to no further than number 6 in these mocks. I did. Got to give it up to, yeah, I mean, if you want to get into that top 5, you're going to end up giving up the world. But I think even at 6, you might be able to get somewhere that you really want. If you traded up to 6 to get Simmons or Akuda, I think that would be a really good move. But if they weren't there on the board, you might as well just hold your spot out there, just in my opinion. Fierce says, what's up to Angry? Chris, totally agree about Murray. Joe Mama, imagine if Oakland didn't sell Jared Cook, Antonio Brown, and Amari Cooper. Besides Jared Cook, I can give 2 shits about those other dudes. So be it. What range y'all think Jalen Reagor goes? Kid can burn, way bigger catch radius, and somehow it's like they were talking about Jalen out there. I could see him. I see him going in the second. So I don't know. I do like that kid. Just kind of see what he brings to the table out there. So many people are sliding up and down this draft board right now. It's so hard to keep up with. Murray is my guy, though. I like A.J. Terrell, but I like Jeff Gladney more. Gladney, we talked about him the other day. That dude can make a serious difference, but he's another dude. He's been slipping down the boards a little bit now. And then, game over. Watts, I think we need the height at wide receiver, but he needs the speed. I don't think we need to draft a slot height. No, definitely not. But... and I know that even 19's too high for Mims, but Mims is my guy. If we're going to go out there and get a receiver, like in the first round, in the late 20s, go after Mims, dude. He has the size, he has the speed, he can get the separation. I like that kid. Wide receiver is deep. Tyler Johnson would make a lot of sense on day 2. Yes, he would. I really like Jefferson too, but I really think he's moving up. He's probably going to end up going in the first. Do you see a change in our defensive coordinator this offseason? Yes, I do. Only if this defense starts to fail. I really think that's the reason Marinelli is on this team, because Gunther's even going to push his coaches out there like he does his players. But I think Gunther's defense is going to be dramatically different now that he has the pieces that he needs. And if that injury bug does not bite us in the ass like it did last year, I think Gunther has a reasonable shot at keeping his job, and just having Marinelli in the building is going to make a huge difference for him, so it should end up going off really well. Like I said, wide receiver is deep. Oh, boom. Watson Fears going at it. Brian Edwards from South Carolina is another day 2 or 3 wide receiver. Could be a good fit. At some point, we're going to have to bring in a return specialist onto this team. We lost that. We do not have it right now, so I'd like to see either an undrafted guy or just somebody later in the draft that's just a true speed return guy come onto this team, because we're going to need that shit. We truly are. Chris Ford, linebacker, cornerback, and wide receiver are definitely our biggest needs. we got like, that's the thing. Like seasons before this, be sitting here like, dude, we got to fill this spot. We got to fill this. We got to rebuild this. We're only like 3 or 4 spots away from having a damn good team. So I'm curious to see what they do with this draft. Fear says, I like the idea of trading down at 19 to get 2 defenders. That 19 pick is probably the pick that's going to be on the board. And yeah, like Watt said, trade 19 for those 2 second-round picks. That's the trade with the Colts. And the Colts want to get back into this first round, especially if they can get into that 19 top 20 spot up there. So that's a very, very real possibility. Expect a bunch of 22 personnel with all these tight ends. Raiders looking to be a power running team. I mean, we are a power running team, but if we can get the right tight ends out there, that was the thing. Like when you had Foster and Waller out there, and then you had Jacobs in the backfield, and you had Williams broke out to the outside, you could either run or pass out of that, and it was a threat, dude. And we were able to make our tight ends break wide open in those sets. And then the fucking injuries, man, they just killed us. Truly killed us. Now, Akuda and Simmons will always be gone by 5. They will be gone by 5. I took Kinlaw. Dude, I like that. I like that kid a lot. And I'll tell you right now, there's a serious shot that he ends up coming onto this team too. Raiders have talked to him. They've talked to him a few different times. Mims played with an injured hand last season and still ended up putting a lights out year. So, I don't know. I'm sticking with Mims as my dude. Trade back a little bit in the first and pick up Mims. Do you think Arden Key, PJ Hill, Joyner, and Jackson all traded next week? I don't think anybody's going to jump on Joyner's contract. I think it's just too much money for somebody to jump on after he's been so unproven. I know a lot of you guys say that he got played out of position, but we paid that dude to play that position, and he freaking let us down. PJ Hall is another one. I think he's just a cut. Arden Key might have some trade value, but I'm talking like maybe 4th or 5th round trade value. Nothing big for him. And then Gabe Jackson is the one. If there was going to be a draft day, like big trade where we ended up slipping into the second for a player, it would be Gabe. So I don't want to see our offensive line screwed with at all. I truly don't. Waller is basically a 50-50 wide receiver that is almost as fast as Mims for the deal that I think Waller is going to be very utilized even more this year. I think Waller's role will be drastically expanded this season. I truly think it will. And that's the thing. If you can have Waller on one side, he's getting doubled up, and then you have Mims on the other side, and they have to just cheat a safety. Even if he just cheats over 2 steps that way, then Renfro is going to destroy them through the middle. Even Aguilar, dude, coming on that quick little slant. The dude's super fast. So that's the kind of thing where you just start seeing us just bust those little slants for touchdowns like we saw Renfro do last season when I was running around my house. Aguilar is a good return guy, and Renfro. I'd like to see Aguilar return. If he was going to be our return guy, I did not want to see Renfro back there returning just because I don't want to see Renfro taking those big shots out there. Do you see Nixon as our starting cornerback week 1? No, I do not, but I see Nixon taking over Joyner's job is what I see out of Nixon. I really like that kid, and I think if we get to him a little bit more play time, he's going to start showing signs to where he needs to be on this team. You could trade with Miami too. Miami does have a shit ton of picks. I'm curious to see because Miami needs a lot of things right now, so that is a definite possibility out there. Trippy, what's going on, man? All the injuries started with AB. Dude, man, I don't know. I don't even like talking about that, dude. But our whole season, our defense last year looked pretty damn good for those first few weeks. And then the injuries just started to pile and the suspensions. Then our offense started getting hurt. Last season was just a bust for us, man. We talk about all we need on the offense, but John Gruden still needs help with play calling, if not help with the halftime adjustments. I don't think John Gruden makes halftime adjustments. I think John Gruden has his game plan that he goes into every single game with. And it involves 6 plays out of like 7 different formations, but it's all the same damn thing. And I'll tell you, last season, I think it was after the Chiefs game where they came out and they said, oh man, we knew everything they were going to do. That shit drove me insane because I've been saying that all season long. But I really think that if we have the extra pieces on there on the offense that can actually be playmakers, I think it will expand his offense, and I truly hope it does. Jason Huntley, that is a very possible. What's up, Gaston? How are you? Thanks for the live chat. Do me a favor and do a mock draft and trade with the Minnesota and tell me what you think. I will have to take a look at that. I've only ran a few of those things out there. Fierce. Yeah, Gruden needs advice. Yeah, dude. He has to open that offense up, dude. He has to. I said kick returner for Nixon. Oh, I guess Nixon could be a kick returner. That dude is like lights out fast. But at the same time, he doesn't have the best hands. I would hate to see him muff a punt and just totally turn the tide and screw us out there. But that's pretty much what I have for you guys tonight, dude. I appreciate everybody that truly came out for this. I love this shit, going back and forth with you guys. But I got to work tomorrow morning, so I got to get up early. So come out tomorrow night for me and my brother go live. We're going to break down the AFC West. It's going to be a super fun show. We'll probably be on here for a good hour, hour and a half, because I don't have to work on Saturday morning. So thank you guys very much. Until next time, I'm Son Joku. If you guys can click that like button, you know I do appreciate that. Helps me get a little few extra views and helps me grow a little bit. But I'll see you guys later. Actually, see y'all tomorrow night. Have a good one, guys.